What's going down, D-Gens? Back again for week 2 of the preseason. Week 1, 2 and 2, pretty much just end up breaking out even. 2 of those plays were money line plays. We go 1-on-1 on the money line, 1-on-1 on the minus 110s. Pretty much a break even. But let's talk about something first before we get into the picks. So one thing I did notice, and I pretty much learn something every year, right? But especially in preseason, one thing that has stood out to me this year is that any team that either had a high draft pick of a quarterback or brought in a veteran presence as a quarterback that kind of, was meant to be like the clear-cut number 2 guy, those teams pretty much won almost every single time in the preseason week 1. I mean, I would assume that that's going to continue moving forward, at least for the next 2 weeks and even, maybe even into next year. I bring that up because usually in the preseason, the 2 things that I look at are the quarterback rooms and the coaches. And this year, even the coaching wasn't really, obviously it's important, but it wasn't as indicative as it had been in years past. So, like, for example, the Vikings, I don't think Kevin O'Connell had ever won a preseason game. He was something like 0-6. But he won this year primarily because of J.J. McCarthy. He let J.J. McCarthy play for like a half, and he was bombing it, right? He hit several deep shots. He had 3 touchdowns in like under a quarter and a half. The guy was just balling. So, it's going to happen. And that's one of those things that we need to just be aware of. Even somebody like a Joe Flacco, and mind you, the Colts lost, but he played really well. He didn't get a lot of playing time, but he played really well for the time he was in there. And that's something that we may see him a little bit more this upcoming week. And again, mind you, he's a veteran. He knows what he's doing out there, but he's new to the team. They need to get him playing time in there. They need to know what he's going to do, what he can do in case they need to bring him in. If AR gets hurt, something happens like last year, they need to know what they're going to do with this guy. So have that kind of offense built around him. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see him get, like, again, an entire half at some point, before the preseason's over. So those are just things to kind of keep tucked away in your mind somewhere, and just keep that in mind when you are placing bets on the preseason. The preseason is, hard in some aspects, very easy in others. But let's see if we can do better this week and, actually make a little profit here. So straight into the picks. Bengals and the Bears is the first pick here. Now, the Bengals, 2 things with this team. Number 1, they have something like a 20% win record under Zach Taylor. The guy just really doesn't care about preseason. And I want to say that the majority of his wins came in the first season he was the coach. The first season they had a preseason with him. He just hasn't really done a whole lot since then. The second reason that we want to fade the Bengals is that Jake Browning, their backup quarterback, is hurt. So Joe Burrow did play last week. He probably will get some play this week as well. The only thing with Burrow is, well, number 1, now his backup is hurt, and number 2, Burrow has a very tenured history with being injured going into week 1, and I don't think they want to do that again. Last year was a perfect example. He started off with that calf strain, and then it just kind of kept like spiraling, and then eventually he just missed like half the season, right? So I think that is something, a precedent they're trying to get off of. They don't need this guy getting so many preseason reps. They don't need him going into the season injured. If Joe Burrow goes down now, now they're going to be going to like their 3rd string quarterback to start the season. So I would not be surprised if they're very, very careful with how much they put Joe Burrow in there. And if at all, right? Because he may not even get any playing time. But if he does, I would assume it's maybe the first quarter at most. Now, behind that, what's behind him now, right? So the 3rd and 4th stringer, really what's kind of being tossed around is that Rocky Lombardi is the one that's going to be playing for the most part, right? That's not like a son of Rocky Balboa. It's not Vince Lombardi's like great grandson or anything. It's just some dude named Rocky Lombardi. So, I mean, I don't know anything about this guy, but the fact that he's the 4th stringer on the team and he's lined up to get most of the playing time in this preseason game doesn't sound good. And kind of put that together with a coach who doesn't really put a whole lot of emphasis on preseason. And then lastly, I mean, if Burrow's not playing much and the backup isn't playing much, and they know going into this game that they don't not really putting a lot of emphasis on it, and they're gonna start a fourth string receiver, what do you think they're gonna do with the rest of their starters? They're not gonna put Jamar Chase and T Higgins and any other their premier guys out there. For a game that they know, look, we're not going to get a good critique after Burrow comes out. So if he gets a series or 2 series or 3 series, that's it. And they don't need to keep working T. Higgins and Joe Burrow. Like, these guys have been together for a while now. Same thing with Chase, even longer with Chase. He played at LSU with Chase. So I highly doubt we see too much, if any, of the starters playing in that Bengals game. Meanwhile, the Bears are the exact opposite. Eberflus has over a 70% win record. Caleb Williams, as a rookie, he's going to get some playing time. He's going to get as many reps as they can get him. I would say at least the first quarter and maybe even the first half. A lot of coaches are treating this week 2 game as like the, quote unquote, like walkthrough or the dress rehearsal. So, maybe it is a half. But even behind that, so guys like Rippon, he's fine. He's not great. I'm not trusting him in like a regular season game, but the backups in Chicago are decent. They're sufficient enough to get through a preseason game to move the ball. Roma Dunze is probably going to also get some extended playing time again as a rookie, trying to work out as many reps as they can. Probably try to get him some reps with Caleb, and then the running back room with Swift and Herbert and Roshan Johnson. I mean, those guys are just deep. They're deep across the board offensively. The defensive line is good. They're getting some different rotations in there. And to top it all off, not that this is like the be-all, end-all, but these teams that are on Hard Knocks want to have something good. They want to put a brand out there, right? This is kind of an opportunity to get your name out there, to get some hype around your team. They don't want to be going out there and doing nothing. They're 2-0 this year in preseason. I don't think they're going to stop now and be like, okay, well, let's stop trying. We got enough. That's just not the kind of guy that Eberflus is. So that being said, give me the Bears -6. Yeah, it's a bigger number for preseason. That's fine. I would not be surprised if the Bengals put up less than 10 points in this game. I don't want to touch the under in this one because the Bears, as we saw last week, can put up 30 by themselves. Speaking of that, let's go to the next play. The Rams and the Chargers. The Rams under Sean McVay, they win last week in a last-second, touchdown, and that's whatever. It's very Dallas Cowboys of the Cowboys to give up the last-second win in preseason. But Sean McVay typically doesn't give a shit about preseason. I think he has a total of like 8 wins across all of his seasons with the Rams in preseason. Him as well, he's got something like a 20 to 30% win record. Now, as far as the Chargers are concerned, I truly thought they were going to put more emphasis on the preseason, especially with Harbaugh coming in as a new coach. But it doesn't, at least from last week, it doesn't really seem like they're doing a whole lot. I know that he's trying to maybe keep Justin Herbert healthy, so he's not giving him a whole lot of playing time, if any, this week. The receiver room is not really deep, so like they're not. Not to say that they're not going to play Palmer, but Palmer and McConkey's already not like 100%. Apparently he's dinged up, so I don't think a whole lot of their starters are playing. Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins coming off their own injuries. They maybe J.K. gets some playing time, but I think a lot of this they're probably trying to really sort out more the end of their roster, right? Like Kamani Vidal, like is he going to make the team? Stuff like that. So I don't think we see the best effort from the Chargers. Maybe the last week of preseason we do. Just going back through Harbaugh's record, Harbaugh has actually never lost in the final game of preseason. All the years he was with San Francisco, he won every single year the very last game of preseason. So to me, maybe that's still what he's going to do. Maybe that's his MO. Maybe he wants to treat that game as a dress rehearsal, kind of work out whatever kinks he has. But for this week, I don't see him putting a whole lot of effort into this, unless we get something saying that absolutely, yes, all the starters are playing and they're going to play a half and they're getting everything out. I have not had any inclination of that. I love the under in this game. We have 2 coaches that are just really trying to not get hurt because their teams are so front-loaded, right? Like you have starters are awesome, and then behind that you got a lot of ambiguity. So 2 teams trying to get out healthy, one of which definitely does not care about the preseason, has never cared about the preseason. The other one, a brand new coach who, from what we saw in week 1, is completely fine putting up 3 points for the week, right? Like, I think he's more interested in just kind of player personnel stuff. So give me the under 33.5 for the Rams at Chargers game. And those are the two that I have locked in right now. Those are the two for sure plays. There is another play that I really like, and it is the Jets at the Panthers. What I'm waiting for is the Jets to get to -3. If you're looking at the screen right now, it's currently Jets -3.5. Great win record as far as Salah is concerned. He's at like 75+% win record as far as the Jets are concerned. We won with them last week. They beat Washington on the money line, so that was good. But Carolina, again, didn't put a whole lot of effort into last week, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't this week either. The only thing that gives me any sort of hesitation with this is that, again, it is a rookie head coach, and typically we see these rookie head coaches try, at least in 1 or 2 preseason games, to really get a win. They want to put their name on a win. They want to show everybody that they can win. Last year, almost all of the brand new head coaches went 2-1. And so I would not be surprised if we see Carolina at least try to put some sort of, effort into this. The Jets have some stuff going on right now with like Hassan Reed and some other moving parts on their team. But I don't think that's going to stop them from, again, going out there, trying to win. We know Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play, but they have a decent backup now finally. And even the running back room there is pretty solid behind Breece Hall finally. Everything's just coming together. Their offensive line is deep. I mean, everywhere across the board. They have playmakers. They have guys that are, top 10, top 15 in their position, pretty much all across the board. Very solid defense. I think you're going to get just a good, solid performance every single preseason game from that Jets team. And it is mainly because Salah wants to win, but secondly because there's not really a whole lot of, scrubs on that team. Even if they put in their third stringers or so, their third stringers are probably just as good as everybody else's backups as far as preseason games are concerned. And they tend to give them some more playing time. Like I said, the only thing is if the Panthers are trying to, work on a 2-minute drill, if they maybe do give a little bit more playing time to the starters, if they're trying to get Deontay Johnson to work in, those kind of things kind of do put some iffiness in this, which is why I want to get the 3, not the 3.5. Now, right now it's -3.5, but it's -105, so it's not even at the -110 right now. It is coming down. I would not be surprised if we get to -3 really by the end of today, if not tomorrow, especially if we see more and more money come in on the Panthers, or if we hear an announcement that the Panthers are playing their starters. So keep an eye on the Jets -3. I wouldn't want to buy the points because it goes those odds way off. It's like -135. So wait for the -3. We'll see if it gets there. The last thing, and it's actually the first game coming up on the week, is the Eagles at the Patriots. I like the Patriots -2.5. The Eagles won last week against the Ravens. Typically, though, Eagles don't really try. I think Nick Sirianni has 2 preseason wins, some ridiculously low number. Whereas the Patriots, again, brand new head coach with John Mayo, obviously not expected to be a very good team, but Joe Milton showed out last week. I don't know if anybody else saw that. I'm sure somebody did, but Joe Milton looked awesome. Bailey Zappi, right? He's, for preseason, he's probably your average quarterback. Beyond that, those guys are probably going to get a lot of playing time. Drake Maye, who knows as far as how much time he's going to get, but at least we know we have 2 guys that can move the ball, even as third and fourth stringers. They can come in. So I like it, especially, again, because the Eagles probably aren't going to put a whole lot of emphasis on this. The Eagles definitely aren't playing Saquon and Hurts and things like that in the preseason. I mean, they're a Super Bowl caliber team. They're not going to waste their time on this or get somebody injured on this week. So you have one team that's trying, another one that's not. I like the Patriots at -2.5. Only thing I'm waiting on this one for, because I have not pulled the trigger on this one either, is just to see who's playing. I just want to see who's actually going to start for the Patriots. Is it going to be Maye? Is he getting any extended time? That'll probably move the number a little bit, but if it goes to -3, that's fine. If we can get that news early and jump on it right away, if you see a little pop-up from Sleeper, from whoever showing, hey, these guys are starting, if you like it, plug it, play it right away. Because you have a good little 5-minute window where it'll probably still be a -2.5. If you wait any longer than that, it's going to most likely move to -3. So just keep an eye on that. And even at that, it's, relatively smaller play. So those are the two locked in place for the week, and then two more that I'm kind of waiting on right now. So that's it for week 2, guys. One thing I do want to note, and this is separate, not like a play thing, but if you notice, I'm looking at Bovada right now. If you have not already deposited into a book, or if you're looking for maybe a new book to use, or if you're just kind of shopping around out there, take a look at Bovada. I know it can be like a quote unquote square book, and that's honestly kind of to our advantage, because if you're the non-square playing there, you could get the better numbers, right? You can get the line movement that maybe doesn't happen right away everywhere else. But more importantly, if Bovada is given the same number as 3 other books out there, I tend to use Bovada only because the payout option is much faster. It's free, and you don't really have a big issue. And I'm not selling Bovada. I think I do have like an affiliate code for them, but I'm not pitching that right now. I'm just telling you guys from player to player, if you see this book and another book have the same lines, all of my past experiences with Bovada have been very positive as far as payouts are concerned. So I know that's beginning to be an issue in this gambling scene. So just kind of take that into note. But thanks again, guys. I appreciate y'all listening. Have a good weekend, and hopefully we win some money this week.